Okay, here we are. Default cube. Except for I'm on X-ray. So X-ray up here on the right. Gonna toggle that Alt Z. Hold my mouse, hover it over, Alt Z. And now I need to get in solid mode. X. Solid. Or up here. You're probably already in solid mode. But okay, we're gonna make a material. Just the first start of a material. But let's click on the box, and before we start, let's click up here in the corner and drag a window out. There we go. And now let's click on the editor type, 3D viewport, and let's get into UV editor. Okay, so we're in UV editor now, and if I click this little arrow, that tiny arrow, see, it's really little right there, and I can click that open, or I can hit T. I can click on the select box, press and hold the mouse down and click over here and get the select box. So now I'm on select box. See? Okay, now I can click and I can drag down, but I'm not in the right mode. I need a tab. I've selected my cube and I'm scrolling with my scroll mouse, scrolling in, and I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode. And Daniel's getting me coffee. Woohoo! Thank you. God bless you. Okay, now that I am in edit mode, see, I'm on the vertices. You can go one, click tap your one on your keyword. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Vertices, edges, and faces. And you can look at the difference, see? And I'm in edit mode with the cube, but this is my cube. So 3 is faces. And I click on this, I hit G, and I'm grabbing that. Right click, snaps it back in place. Ooh. And then if I hit 1, then I'm in vertice mode, and I can hit a little vertice. I can hit G and grab. Then right click and that'll snap back. But this is my cube on the UV map. Notice there's nothing behind the UV map. So we're going to put a material on it. So see our cube? There it is. Up here in the outliner. We are in, this is an editor window. You can pull it out. That's our cube. We click to drop it down. We can click cube, and that's our cube right there that we're looking at. See? Isn't it nice? And we're still in edit mode. So let's tab back into object mode and make a color. Now, just going to do a color, and then we're going to do material. Alright, so I'm going to try to stay on track. I'm just going to rename the cube by double clicking on it. I'm going to say cube tear. My cube. My default. Now, see how I'm pulling this menu? And there's this nice little menu right here with the little tabs. These are our properties. Properties. This is the default cube material properties. So you click on the little red tab, and you can preview that box if you that material that's automatically on it. See material. I can double click it and name that just white colors, because we can change it. You can make it any name you want. You can put matte on there so you know it's a material. But this is a material, not to be confused with the texture. I always confuse them. So now that we have the material, we just can click. We can also, remember, you can play with these little things. It's fun. And this is just showing you your colors, what your materials. Then under surface, you can go here to base color. And you can click right on the white like this. And you can, whatever your, I might have my material color box. And slide. And then, oh, we've changed our color, but why can't we see it? Guess why? Now gets confusing sometimes because we are in solid mode up here. Look, see the balls? Remember we were in transparency and then we were in solid. And so we need to come here and we need to go into material preview. Ta-da! We have a color now. So that's shortcut is Z. If you hold your cursor, Z. Notice if I hold my cursor over here on the UV short for, I forget. But you can't get the menu. So you need to hover your mouse in the 3D space. And there, rendered, wireframe, material, and solid. So we had been in solid mode. And there's a different way to do the solid mode colors. But there, we've colored it. Go to material preview, and there's our color. And so if we pull over here and we come here, now we can click here and we can change the colors of our objects. So if I Shift D, if I select the cube, see the cube is selected. Shift D to duplicate. S to scale. And Shift D to duplicate. S to scale. And then G to grab. Move it around, G to grab. And then I select right here and I change but I'm going to select the big cube and then change the color to red or pink or whatever. There, I've changed the colors. Then I select this one. Now, notice if I select this, white color's matte, it's the red, and I select it, notice it automatically duplicated materials. Blender did that. Amazing thing. So because Blender duplicated the materials, now I can, for me, when I made a copy, I can make different colors. So what do we care about? Color. Why? Because we paint and we draw and colors make us happy. And I'm going to tab Z and I'm going to get into material preview mode. I guess I am in it. And I got my funny colors because I have a setup. But I can go into rendered mode right here. And then I can scroll and zoom out and click and drag. See, click. There's the default light right here. And then hit G to grab it. You need to be in object mode. If I was in edit mode, tab into edit mode with this cube, then I can hover my mouse to select the whole cube and hit L, and that'll grab my cube, and I can scale it and do things to it here. But I cannot select my light. So I need to tab into object mode, select my light, Control D to duplicate it if I need more light. And then there's a little light bulb right there, kind of over here, and you can play with your lights. You can change the colors of your light. You can turn the power and the exposure up. And you can move your lights around. It's very fun. It's very, 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 very fun. Okay, I can hit G and I can grab it. And I can make the light a different color if I want. And I can turn it up and I can switch it to a different light. So the lights are fun. Very fun, and I can turn them down and turn them up. But I'll switch it back to white so we can just see our colors. And I'll turn it back down. The sun is really bright, so I just go to point or area. And you play with the different lights all to your heart's content. It's fun. So I have 2 lights in here. It's easier to see, but that's how you change the colors. And then also, and keep doing this. Make sure that when you change your colors, that you pull your tab or a window open and you go click and you go to shader. These are shader nodes right here. And this is really cool, the power of Blender. So you can kind of pay attention when you make a new material. You go to your material editors, you have the color here and you also have the color here. And then you can do really wild things and add nodes and take your nodes class and go crazy with shader nodes. This is super popular. And Blender is making it very cool. So that's how we make a color. And now I'm going to show you really quickly how to add a material. Okay, your materials are going to be funky until you learn how to lay out your UVs. But I'll show you how to put a material on.
Texture.
A texture. That's what I do. I get them confused. So let's click this pink one. Now the texture is going to cover over. But notice I changed and I'm on this pink shader node right here, this ready one. Now watch what happens in the shader box. Remember, the shaders are in your, right here. Go to this editor window. Shader editor. Shader editor. And then you can switch windows all you want. You're not going to break anything if you go back. And if I go back, this window was timeline. You can pull out windows all you want, as many as you need. Or I like to just switch them because I like to have lots of space. So you're not going to break that by doing that. And you can always get help from me or go to Alex, go to Blender Mania 3D Discord and ask the class for help. Okay, so we're going to add a material and a texture. We have a material, but basically a texture wraps around the material ball. Okay, and here's how we do it. See this little dot right here on base color? This little yellow dot. Not to be confused with this little white dot. That's animate. That's animate property. This box right here. Click it. Come over here and go to image texture. Right there, see? It's like the 3rd row over image texture and click it. Okay, we almost have an image texture. Now we have a text field over here that popped in, and we also have a node. So if you want to move your nodes, hit Alt, click, and drag to move in this box. Alt. And see, we have the same. This is like the properties for this. New and open. New and open. And you can watch in your little preview menu right here. And it turned black because now there's nothing there. It's covering. It's covering up. And let's pay attention over here. Remember I had you open up the UV editor window? File, UV, editor. And we're not in edit mode yet, but we will be. But pay attention to it. Notice up here we have new and open. In your UV editor, you have new and open. Then you have it new and open down here in your shader window. And then you have new and open over here. It can get confusing. but it's pretty much all these are all kind of the same. We can, since we added an image texture node, right over here on this little yellow dot, there's a couple different ways to do it, of course, but we added that. Now we can click new or open. We can click new. I'll just click it. And then we can make a brand new image. An image material. And so you would give it a name. You just say image cool, whatever you want it to be. Whoops, no equals. And then you give it a name, whatever you want, if you want to make a new one, and then hold this down, hold your mouse down and drag down. Then you can change the width and the height of your image, just like you would make a new image in Adobe Photoshop or whatever app, Procreate, whatever you're in, whatever size you want. So I usually do 20, and if you still do the click, drag down thing, you can change them both at the same time. So I might do 2048 like that, and then I just leave it black, or you can change the color. Well, let's change the color to blue, because this is going to be a material, like an image you can paint on. You can import it, export it, paint on it in your other program and bring it back in. So there, it's blue. We'll just make it a lighter blue. And that's all you really have to do, and leave it. You can look at my settings and then say image. And now let's see, we can't really see it because it's light blue, but I'll show you that it's there by turning it. You can see the shading. And then notice here in the shader, we have an image in there now. And if you click this little thing, there it is. If you click up here where it was in the UV editor, where the little image is, there it is. Image cool. If I come over here, I can see image cool. So there you have it. Now, when you make an image, we can turn the lights down just so you can see. You can search for lights. Start adding gobs of stuff like me. You can make a folder. Just click this little box up here. It's like new collection is what their folders are called in here, new collection. And then you can select your lights, click them, and then click and hold your mouse down and drag them in. And then you can double click and you can call this light. That will help you organize, because you can just go like this and turn them all off. See? But how many lights did I make? I can make a mess. Okay, so you can click the light and come down here and we can turn it back down. I don't remember that. Okay, let's turn it down a bit. There we go. And then we can go to world up here. See the world? It's kind of like the material, but it's the same color. But it's the world properties. The world, our materials are in the 3D world. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to go to the world. And the world has a color in the background that's kind of, you see? It's gray back there. So we have the light we stuck in there. We can play with that. But we also have the world. And if we just click on the world properties and then we click in color, we can drag this and it's going to bring up the light a bit. And it's like a reflection light from the world onto our object. So now you can see it's blue. So I'm going to delete these other cubes that I made. Just select and hit delete on the keyboard, and then that will clean up my space a little bit. Okay, so like I said, you can change the color in your background. It's a surface background color. Turn it up. You can turn the strength up and down right here. Color and strength. Okay. So that helps a little bit to see that our baby blue. Okay, now about that material, let's go click back onto the material properties. Right. See, our material we named white colors material matte, and then our image texture is image cool. And so this image is not saved to the hard drive. Okay, this is exciting. We got the material on there. Now, with the material, there's so much you can do. So this is the beginning, though. Getting that material on is that texture onto that material. Thank God for Daniel helping. Texture. Now it's an image texture. So remember over here, so keep in mind, there's that little envelope, and then this was image new. So we made a new one. Same with over here, we have that option to make the new one. And same with up here, new. So we can make that texture. And we did, we made the blue one. So where is it? It's up here. Let's come up here to the UV editor window. And the little icon that has the mountain and the dot, show you a picture. Click down and there's that image. So let's click on it. So there, you see how we made a brand new one inside of Blender. Now, let's select the cube, the default cube, and tab into edit mode. And there are my UVs for that cube. And you can move them around. 1, 2, or 3. 2 to get on faces, G to grab. Whoops. I snap it back into place. So come up here to this little 3 tiny little boxes. See where it says sticky selection mode. Click the arrow and disable it. There, now there's 3 separate little tiny boxes. Now click, see, watch in the UV window. Watch over here, this is so cool. And I have this one selected. If I scroll out and rotate and I click here, see, I'm selecting the faces in the different spots, and you can see them in here in the UV editor. Now, if I hit G on the keyboard, G, I'm moving it. Isn't that cool? And then right click, snap it back into place. Now, it's different if I move my you're going to have a different, really cool different thing happen here. You can hit it over here and hit G, grab, and it's going to stick, and you want it to stick there. I mean, unless you're cutting a piece off. So you can also click it, G to grab, right to snap it back into place again. And then minus Y to get in the front view again. And you can rotate with your Alt. Rotate. Alt. Click. Move your mouse, your scroll wheel, your roll ball. I have a roll ball. Everybody uses a 3D, scroll wheel, or, ought to have the scroll wheel in a 3D app. You're not going to get very far with just, without it. So see how we can select the boxes. Okay, we're in transparent mode still, notice, I think. Yeah. So you can come up here to the top, and we're in X-ray mode is what I mean. And then you can hit Z to go to preview mode where we were, or Z to go to rendered mode. And then you can Alt Z to turn off, Alt Z. The shortcuts are right there. It's good to learn where things are at, but before you start learning all the keyboard shortcuts that everybody's so crazy about. So if I hit remember I am in edit mode. So if I hit L, hover my mouse over L, it selects everything, which is so cool. Now I can hit S to scale, or I can hit S, Z, and it will scale on the Z axis, or X, it will scale on the X. This is so fun. And then, what is it? Y. So X, Y, and Z. And I can right click to snap it back. Okay, so back to the material. So here we are, we made our cool image cool. Now, we had another choice. We had a choice to click on that little box and make this new image, cancel. And over here, we had that same option, same place, to make and create a new image. And that's what we did, cancel. I'm not going to make another one. But we have another option. We can click right here on the folders. See, you can open up your images. You can dig around and find them. And you've got your Windows folders down here. I'm going to go to this one new. I'm going to go to my E drive. And then I'm going to go to pink chocolate, where I know I have some images. Let's see. Here, pink chocolate, double click. Now I'm in this folder. And I got some, AI rendered images. I'll click here. Now, if I come up here, you may not be seeing, you have some options. You can click these and see the list, the horizontal list, and then thumbnails. And if you click the drop down, you have this, where you can size your thumbnails. So you may not find things if you're looking in your folders, if you're just hopping on to Blender. So you look under this filters files and you tick these on. You want to see your blend files, Blender. You want to see your images, tick those on, your sound files. And then you'll see your stuff. So now we can just grab an image. I'm going to use, these are not very many images in here. So let's see. These are TIFF images. I think they'll work. I can't remember. Yes. Daniel says yes. Okay, there. It worked. Now I have I'm in edit mode, so it's looking a little bit faded out. See that? It's on there. Hallelujah. So let's tab into object mode so you can see my images on there. Okay. And it's in here. See, here's my mysterious treble image. But we want to be able to see it up here because remember, tab back into edit mode. We've got our blue image on here. Now, I can just come up here to that little, scroll down. There's the folder where we open images. There's where we make new ones. And here is kind of where they came in at. Right here. And then there's the name. So I can click this. And I can click on my new image. And it comes small, but you can scroll in. Now you see where our UVs on our faces are at? On my cube there? This is where gets like fun, but you play the puzzle tricky game and you click this and you hit S and you scale it up. and you learn how to lay your UVs out. That's the huge thing about 3D and images is there's a lot that goes in to mapping your art, your art, your 3D stuff in here. So this is just the basics. And then you see I can click this one and then I can come over to the UV and hit G and grab, and I can move it where I want. S to scale. And then remember, if I want to select them all, I can hover my mouse over the 3D viewport, hit L, and notice that selected them all. So I can scale them all. And then now, I'm not going to go a lot into this, but this is where you go to UVs and you play with the unwrap confrontal, and this will unwrap your UVs for you. So if I hit, there's not that many, it'll auto unwrap your UVs for you. And then there's some really cool tricks. You can click on and make seams, and then I'll show you more about that, or you can learn about that. Basically, you can come into edit mode, click on your edges, and make an edge. Shift select, click an edge, and then you go edge, mark seam. Now when you have a lot of polygons, it'll unwrap right there. And you'll have more polys, you'll cut up your stuff, and it'll unwrap in a nice places. And we have red seams. Like if you had had seams and you had a pattern, those seams are where the cuts will be. And Blender will look at that and open that up. So now I can say unwrap, minimal stretch, or first select everything. So hover your mouse over it, or just hit A on the keyboard, hit A, or like I said, hold your mouse over, hit L. And now we can hit UV, unwrap. And see, we kind of got this other wrap, and you'll see how fun this is when you start, unwrapping your characters and your objects. And then you can paint right there. So we could go back and click up here. Instead of this image, go back to our blue. And you can see our UVs are kind of messed up. So you just learn with the classes, UV, we can say, we can hit this and see what these different ways of how it's going to unfold. That kind of thing. And of course, it's just a square, so. But for instance, we can hit this. Let's go hit A, select all. We can come over here to modifiers, add, generate subdivision surface, and it has one subdivision now. So it's subdivided all of those faces once. And if you look at the subdivision and you hit the cage off, see, it'll wrap. It's not there until we apply it, but I could hit 2, that subdivides it twice. And that's probably good. And now I'll hit tab back into, let's go to object mode. And then in object mode, we can apply the subdivision. It's cutting it up for us. It won't apply in edit mode, so you can add it, but you can't apply it. So now we can go into edit mode. And see, it's all cut up. See, and you can even see it over here in the UV. And we added the seam, but now you can double click in edit mode. You can find seams, what I'm doing is holding down Shift and double clicking. You can also hit Alt, but we already have some seams there. And then we hit the edge and then mark seam. And I do have a shortcut set up, but there's the mark seam. So if you mark the seams and then you go UV and you go, oh, okay, unwrap, you have to select, see, forgot to select A to select all. And now watch over here before I do it. UV, unwrap. See, now we got a nice unwrap. And we're on a material. And so just real quick, that's basically what you do. And then you can start painting your object. And it looks like I'm going to go to material mode. And it looks like I need to switch it to the blue here. There, now you can see the blue is on there. And you can see it better if we tap the edit mode. So, and then also what I like to do is in this mode, object mode, under overlays, right here's overlays. It's kind of how your things appear to you. I like to see the wireframe in object mode, but it's up to you. You can click it on and turn the opacity up and down. It helps you. It helps me to plan things out. And then now that we have a material, now we can paint. And that's what I like to do. Everybody's different. You can add colors, but we can select the object, go to front view. Woohoo! Here we go. Oh, this is exciting. And then in object mode, we can now go down here to texture paint. And I've got some paint brushes here. Click on a paintbrush. Come over here to this menu, which is N on the keyboard, N. This is so cool, N. And we're on item, but we want to come down here to tool. And now we have the paint and all these fun little things. And we can pick a color, maybe yellow. And first I'll drag my thing up, and now I'll pull this down to yellow. And now we have a color. N to hide that. You can change your colors up here too. And of course, you can just study all that. It's fun. And here's my size right here. On my brush, you can right click, size your brush, and there's the strength, like, you know, how thick it's going to paint on. And this is where it gets really fun. And now, see, I'm in front view, so I can start painting. Oh, you can also click on, if you have your scroll wheel, you can scroll right here and it'll move your menu. And now you can click on X. So it'll paint on the X axis, see? So if I undo carefully, hopefully your computer is working well. And now, oh, my X got turned off. Okay, double check things and go slow, take your time. And now, see? And then I can right click and I can turn my strength up and paint. Now look, see over here? This is where it's all gonna matter, how your UVs are laid out, how well your paint is gonna be. So there's that. And then I could do this forever and ever because it's so fun. And you can come over here if you lose things. Come over here to your outliner. Select the cube. There it is. And then hit, I think, hold your mouse over here and then hit the period on the numpad to zoom back in. That's one way of doing it. If things get lost and you can't get to it, go select the object in your outliner and hit the period on the keyboard and you'll find it. Or you can say view, I think, select, there's a tab. Where is it? Oh, it's in object mode, I think. But anyway, that's the best way. That's one way of so many. Now, okay, so we've added a material and we've added another one to paint on. We can also switch over to this and I did that in the UV editor. And then you could come over here back to our materials and you can switch it here. Looks like you might have to see the drop down and then switch that. And then you can paint on this too if you want. So you can make a new material and paint on it, or you can just paint right on your other materials like that. And you can see where it lined up. Now, it's really important to save your file. Notice I don't have my file saved at all. And if you don't save, come over here into the UV up here. You have to save it out because it might auto save when you're closing and it might not. So right here, you'll know it's not saved. There's a little star. So we click there. And if we want that image that we created or any edits we made, we have to save it. File, save as, you save the blend file. So I might just say made matte material. But now I need to save this right here. And you click on image and you click save as. And now you can save your material. So if you don't rename it or hit the plus, you're going to save right over the top of it. The original. And then also I just switch back and go to the blue image that we made in here. This won't get saved either, I don't believe. They're upgrading Blender so fast. So here's the blue image. I can click on that and I can say image, save as. So if I make an image in here and I paint in here, I have to save it. So we named it image cool, and that's cool, that's fine. Now it's saved. Then I go image, save as, and there I can find it. The other thing is really, really cool is if you make a folder, you know, on your drive, like your E drive, and you add a new folder right here, and you select it, you can keep a bookmark right here. Hit the plus, just select it, and hit the plus, and then you'll have all these bookmarks. And then you can see all your Blender stuff. So that'll be fun to play with too. So now you've made a material. Well, actually, you imported a material. If you did this class with me, you created a material, you made a material, and you painted on that material. And it's so fun. So we could just go to black. We're still in paint mode. Go to black. Click on this little yellow, or come over here. Remember, it's the tool when we're in paint mode. And there's all kinds of Photoshop-y fun stuff. And so yay. So I was just going to get on black. And then I was going to, of course, what I always do, eyes. Or maybe I'll do baby blue. Scroll this down to blue. Oh, it won't stick unless I move that first. Okay, let's get blue. Let's do some blue. Oh, and some lighter, because there, you make eyes, and now black. maybe a smaller one. Right click, click, drag down. There's another way too to do it, but there. Hi, I see you. Woohoo! Okay, and then again, we painted on this image. See here? So we got to save it. So just remember image save as in the UV editor. Woohoo! And paint to your heart's content and then start modeling. And if you want to model in here and you want to make cool shapes, well, you got to take more classes. But you got to get out of edit mode and go, or you got to get out of paint mode. Go back and forth to edit mode. And now, one really quick thing, hopefully this is recording. In edit mode, you can turn on this. Where is it? Not snapping, not, right here. It hides. It's this little white dot. Proportional editing, click it on, and then play with all these to your heart's content. And now you can just click on this, click on the verts. Let's turn on, all the X is already on. So there, now we have the vertices, and it should, I'm gonna hit G to grab it and see. Because I have proportional editing on, it's turned up kind of high. You can play with that. I'll turn this X off for a second, hit G, pull that down. And you can start making your creature. Ooh, turn the X back on. G to grab, oh, the X didn't go on, but you don't, sometimes it's buggy. So anyway, with proportional editing, here's the proportional size. It basically has a fall off. You can bring it down. And then when you go to, you can select them both and click and drag up. It'll pull all your polys on. And then you can get on the scale and pull them in or whatever. And then you can double click here. The closer you click or alt click to loop select, you click closer to the vert. So if I double click on the vertice there or alt click, it'll select horizontally. And if I click kind of, it'll, yeah, play with that. And then also you can, of course, what's important, add another modifier. I'm on the cube. Again, add generate subdivision modify a subdivision surface, and you can type it in and then turn it up. And then you get more polys. And now you can edit, scale it that way using your proportional editing, or you can turn it off and on, and there you go. You got a semi-turtle. That's cool. Shift select if your X decides to stop working, and then go paint because the material's on there. Edit, save, Control S to save, and come over here, texture mode. Let's paint some black dots. Right click to remember to make different sizes. Right click, radius. Okay, is that cool? Okay. Right click, I'm never gonna stop. This always happens. I'm not so good at tutorials. You can just paint this out a bit. and switch brushes. There's lots to learn, but just have fun at first. Let it be okay for things to break. Oh, it looks like a fat head or something. And then also, if you want, you can add your your subdivision, and click this, see over here, this tool, modifiers. Your materials here and your modifier. And we're on 2 subdivisions. You can be careful, you might crash, but click this on, or click off optimal display, and you can see how many cuts. See, you'll have. They're not added. And then you can, of course, start going to sculpt mode. But anyway, that's all for now. And I hope this was fun, and I hope this is getting recorded. You can rewind and pause and go back to areas, and you can also search any questions you have. You can ask your AI app questions, and you can compete with your AI for practice. And then there's different basic brushes too. If you go back, oh, we're in texture mode. All this, you can bring brushes in too. Here's one of my favorites. I'll get a darker yellow. See, I'm not going to stop now. I'll make it a kind of a darker yellow, and then I'll paint. See, you can bring your own brushes in just like Photoshop and paint a beard or whatever. Of course, it doesn't really look like a beard, but who cares? Let's get a black nose. That's too big. Right click, radius, or there's a shortcut. I think it's F. I think you can click F. Yeah, you can just click F on your keyboard and drag, and then you have then undo F. Or right click, or use these menus. There's always 500 ways to do things in Blender. So have fun, and fear not. And remember, see, my image isn't saved. So if I wanted to save those changes, I have to save as. Double check my image. This is fine. Overwrite. And there you have it. And we can check our blue. You only painted one thing. So there, that's how you do materials, and then you can add sections and just go crazy. All right. This is Star Fluke and a Pink Chocolate game. Our new game, Star Fluke game, Pink Chocolate. So have a great day, and I hope you have fun and take lots of breaks and give yourself extra patience for learning and praises for every little thing, because we're going to be learning from now throughout eternity. We will never know everything. We will always be learning. So have fun doing it. Bye for now.